Right. Using HDR in Lightroom Classic. Now, I shot a whole lot of pictures a while back, all of which were for going to be blending a whole lot of traffic into an image and generally messing around and experimenting with something. But what I do have here is 3 images, the middle exposure, overexposure, and underexposure. Now, right click, so make sure all 3 of them are selected, right click, photo merge, HDR. As you can see, that happened pretty quick. It's gone a bit brighter than I would have expected. Auto align, auto settings are on. You can turn that off, because what it's doing is it's doing the tone and stuff like that. Now, this can be a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they can be darker, sometimes they can be lighter than you'd expect. I think my middle of the road one is relatively bright. My dark one isn't exceptionally dark, so maybe it's pushing it towards bright. It's not too bad, except you barely notice the clouds in here, so I might have a bit of a play with that later. Normally in traffic things, you might want to choose the de-ghost option, low, medium, or high. In this case, it's not relevant because of there's little to no movement in these. And it can be useful, especially if you're doing landscapes on a windy day, and you've got tree branches and stuff that you can actually see in the image quite clearly, and there is movement in between each of the shots. Hit merge. And we are done. Of course, for some reason it has to have put it down the end of the stack, but never mind. Now, as I said, I personally think that's a little bit on the bright side, so we'll drop the exposure a little bit. Actually, I'll move the thing down here so I can do a comparison in a minute. Yes, there's a lot of photographs in that set. Now, it's obviously boosted the shadows a lot, so what I might do is drop the shadows back a little bit. I don't want to get too far. It's also boosted the highlights, dropped the highlights I mean. It's also boosted the whites. I'm not sure I really want the whites boosted that much. I want a little bit of texture and a tad more vibrance. Now you compare that to the overexposed. Or the underexposed or the overexposed. Now there's absolutely no texture in that sky compared to there. You see the hint of sunset. Middle of the road, even the middle of the road, the sky was blown out, and this was quite dark compared to that. So the HDR has brought that sky and that foreground closer together. So I suppose foreground is somewhere between that and that, and the sky is closer to that. And now I get a more balanced image, sort of more like what I actually saw on the day. While this was a little bit darker, this was not blown out to the human eye. So yeah, that's HDRing.